doing own voice over soft music. Vine was about to hold the doorknob of the main door, but a hand stopped her from behind, making Vine's face turn pale and her eyes wide open in fear, making her gulp her lump. And she slowly turned around to see Leah. Vine gulped her lump, seeing Leah's cold face. "Ma'am, please don't make things difficult for us," she said in a cold yet strict tone. "Leah, please let me run away. I don't want to be here." She begged Leah, hoping Leah will help. "I'm sorry, Vine. I can't go against Sir John's order. He will me and my family. And also, even if you run away, he will definitely get you back here. He is powerful," she said, making Vine's eyes turn teary, knowing Leah is right. He is powerful. And also, she doesn't want it to make Leah in trouble because of her. So Vine slowly walked back to her room. Whole day passed. Vian took a bath, as indeed she needed a bath, as from yesterday she haven't freshened up, and also she changed her clothes too, as already Leah told her that Jungkook has arranged a whole closet for her. Right now Vian was staring at the moon through the balcony, not knowing what to do and how to escape from here. Vian sighed, "Think like I am stuck here," she said to herself after she realized that she can't run away, as the whole mansion is surrounded by bodyguards and cameras, and also she can only see forest all around the house. To forget she doesn't even have a phone. Seems like Jungkook took it while her Wine took a deep breath, and at the same time her bedroom door knocked, gaining her attention. "And ma'am, are you in there? Can I come in?" She heard Leah, so "Yes, you can." And thus the door opened and Leah came in, and Wine to walk in the bedroom near to Leah. "Ma'am, Sir John wants you to have dinner with him," she said, making Wine's heart skip a beat. "What? No way, I don't want to see that face," she stubbornly said. Leah sighed, "Ma'am, you are making things difficult for you. If you don't want to be by Sir, please come with me." Saying this, Leah walked out of the room, leaving Vine with no other option just to follow Leah, as Vine got scared after hearing. Soon they reached the dining table, and there she saw Jungkook already sitting on one of the chair, and his eyes fall on Wine, making his heart skip a beat after seeing Wine in one of the dress he personally selected for Wine, and not to forget the dress was correct size of her, which made her look more beautiful to him, and he got for her. "You look lovely," he said while admiring Wine, who just simply stood in front of him, and Leah walked away to kitchen. "Have a seat, Wine," he ordered Wine while pointing at a seat opposite to him, and thus Wine walked towards a chair and sat opposite to him while looking at her lap, not being able to take Jungkook's intense stare on her. "So did you like the room?" he asked Wine, who looked up from her lap just to see Jungkook still admiring her. "I like it as much as I would like a prison," she said, making Jungkook chuckle. "You won't lack anything here. You belong to me now, so I will make sure you have everything you would ever want. You just have to tell me. I want my freedom," she said without even thinking, but it made Jungkook's admiring eyes turn a little dark. "And anything beside that," he said in his cold tone, which indeed scared Wine. "But then I need nothing from you," she said, and ignored Jungkook's gaze and looked at the plate in front of her to see the food is already placed. So she took her chopstick and took a bite of the food. Meanwhile, Jungkook just kept looking at her, and he took his bite. While eating, Wine remembered something, so she looked up from her plate to Jungkook just to see him already looking at her with his dark eyes, which made Wine's heart skip a beat. Then too she calmed herself, and "There is one thing I want from you," she said, and Jungkook kept his chopstick aside, giving Wine his full concentration. "I want to give my finals. It is in few days," she said, making Jungkook at first narrow his eyes on her. "And no," he said, making Wine's eyes turn teary. "Please, this finals hold my future. If I didn't give the finals, my 3 years degree will go in vain. Please let me graduate," she begged to Jungkook with her teary eyes, making Jungkook shrimp, as he got satisfied seeing Wine begging in front of him. "Jungkook shrimp, I like when you beg," he said, making Wine's eyes to shed tears, and soon Jungkook's shrimp dropped, and his heart ached seeing Wine's tear drop falling down her cheeks, and he felt like someone his heart, and not being able to see Wine's tear. Jungkook signed. "Fine, I will allow it," he said, making Wine's teary eyes light up. "And thank you so much." She wiped her tear and licked her dry lips, which didn't go unnoticed by Jungkook, and it made Jungkook more for her, as he was already for her from the moment he saw her walking down the stair in the dress he selected for her. So he thought to utilize the situation. "I will only if you earn it," he said, making Wine frown. "And how? With your Jungkook was sitting on the couch with a glass in his hand and he was staring at Vine, who was standing in front of him with her head bowed down in shame as she again lost her self respect to him. Yes, Vine agreed to do just because she wanted to give her finals for which she has worked hard for years. He ordered, and Vine looked up from the floor to Jungkook just to see him staring at her with eyes while taking sip of his. To be continued in Instagram, link is in description. You did good job, and you earned my consent to give final. Saying this, he got up from couch and fixed his and he took his glass, which he placed aside earlier, and walked towards the window and stood there back facing Wine. Meanwhile, Wine felt so relieved seeing him putting on his, as she thought that he doesn't want to continue further, which indeed made her relax. And Jungkook turned around when he felt Wine stare on him, and he saw Wine was still sitting on the floor with her eyes fixed on him. So, do you need anything else, doll? He asked Wine, making her come back to reality. And no, she immediately said while shaking her head, and Jungkook's eyes again fall on her, making him, but he controlled himself. You can leave, he said in cold tone and turned around, giving Vine privacy to wear her dress. Meanwhile, Vine felt like he was ignoring her. He was tossing her away after using her. She felt like her to him, and all the thought made Vine's eyes turn teary, so she immediately took her dress and wore it and left the room and ran to her room. Jungkook turned back when he heard his bedroom door being harshly closed only for him to sign, and he again continued his drinking. Vine entered her room and ran to the bathroom and on the shower and stood under the shower to calm herself and also to wash herself to get rid of Jungkook's smell. Vine was cleaning her locker as today her last exam got finished, and Vine's voice stopped her and she turned around to see Jack, her best friend. Vine smiled. Jack, you still here? The whole college is empty as the students already left after exam, and Vine stayed to clean the locker. Yeah, I was waiting for you to finish your cleaning, he said with a red tint on his cheeks, and he rubbed his back of neck. But why? She asked him, making him took a deep breath. And well, I want to say something to you. I love you, Vine. I love you from a long time, and now as we have finished our exam and we are all free, so will you like to go on a date with me? He said, making Vine's eyes wide open, and she bit her lips, not knowing what to say. But then Vine shocked Jack. She saw Jack lying on the floor and she looked up to see Jungkook. Jungkook standing with us, clearly showing that he, Jack, and Jungkook's eyes were red in anger. Vine again looked back at Jack lying unconscious on floor with around him, and soon everything turned black for Vine as she got to unconscious, seeing an unconscious person, and thus she fall on the ground. Vine slowly opened her eyes just to see she was in her room, and she got up immediately after remembering the incident happened few hours ago. No, Jack. She jerked the blanket from her body and got up off bed and head out to see Jungkook. Vine opened the door of Jungkook's room and got in. This was the second time she is getting in the room, and there she saw Jungkook on the couch with his laptop, who also looked up from his laptop screen when he heard his bedroom door opening without his permission, and he was calm as he knew that it's Vine because no one in the mansion got the guts to enter his room without his permission. Where is Jack? She asked him after standing in front of him. Maybe in, he simply said, and Vine's all boldness flew away and she bursted crying. Why you did that? He has no fault, she said while crying, and Jungkook scoffed before putting his laptop aside and stood up in front of Vine. He has no fault. He proposed you. He tried to take you away from me, he said with his dark eyes, and then he held Vine's both elbow and pulled her closer to him before saying with his dark eyes, you are mine, Vine. Vine jerked his hand and took a step back. No, I'm not yours. Before Vine can complete, Jungkook cut her off. Yes, you are mine. Only I have right on your. Don't forget your dad sold you to me, which make you completely mine. Not even you have right on your Kim Wine, he said, making Wine burst out crying, knowing she can't do anything as he is right, though her father gave her to him. But Jungkook's eyes turned soft, and also Jungkook's heart ached seeing Wine crying, which he himself doesn't know why, but he ignored those new feelings and approached Wine and softly hugged her. Don't cry, doll, I can't see you crying, he said while slowly cherishing her back, but it only made Wine cry. He was innocent, she said in between her sob, making Jungkook sign, and he pulled back from hug and cupped Wine's cheek, making her look into his eyes. Do you love him? He asked. His voice had a hint of sadness, and he doesn't know why his heart ached while asking those words to her. And Wine stopped crying on hearing his question, and at that time she noticed Jungkook's eyes, which was soft now. And no, I don't love him, she said, and there comes a small smile on Jungkook's face after hearing Wine's word, which made his heart relax. Then why are you crying for him, doll? He asked while cherishing her cheeks. He was my best friend, she said in between her sob, but busted out crying, remembering her best friend is no more. And again, Jungkook's heart ached, seeing Wine cry. So fine, don't cry, doll. He wiped Wine's tear and fixed her hair a little as it was messy. Let's go. Saying this, he carried Wine in his arm and walked out of his room. Where are you taking me? Just wait for 10 minutes, doll. You will see, he said, and Wine shut her mouth and let Jungkook do whatever he wants. Wine looked at Jungkook with a frown after Jungkook stopped the car in front of hospital, who just simply unbuckled his seatbelt and walked out of the car and came towards Wine's side and opened the door and unbuckled her seatbelt and again carried her in his arms inside the hospital. Jungkook put me down. Everyone is watching us, she said with her red cheeks as everyone in the hospital were looking at them with surprise and fear. Let them look, they are just surprised to see their boss with a girl in his arm for the first time, he simply said and walked without giving a to the people. Jungkook made Wine stand in front of the room, and Wine looked at him with a confused face. Jack is admitted here, he said while pointing towards the room, which made Wine's eyes wide open, and she immediately opened the door and walked inside the room, and Jungkook followed her. Wine saw Jack lying on the bed unconscious with a bandage on his shoulder, and nurses were cleaning the remaining from his body. How is now? He asked from behind, making Wine everyone in the room to look at him. And oh, Sir Johnny is fine now, as we took out the from his body and stitched his wound, one of the doctors said to Jungkook while the nurse continued to clean Jack. Good. I will leave, Sir John. Jungkook just nodded his head, and the doctor went away, and Wine heard their conversation. So, thank you for saving him, she said with a small smile, and Jungkook just nodded his head on her too and walked out of the room. Wine walked towards Jack and held his palm in her, and I'm sorry, Jack. Hope you forgive me, she said to the unconscious Jack and softly placed Jack's hand back on bed, and she turned around to leave. Take rest, I got work to do, he said to Wine after they both reached home. And okay, she said, and Jungkook walked away to his office, but Wine kept admiring him walking away as now suddenly she started having a little feeling for him in her heart, but soon a loud echoed in the surrounding, gaining everyone's attention, including Jungkook's too, and he turned around to see Wine, he shouted, seeing Wine lying on the ground with flowing from her body, which made his heart stop beating, and he immediately ran to Wine and took her in his arms. And no, baby, no, open your eyes. He tried to wake up Wine, but no use, she wasn't responding, which made Jungkook more numb. For the first time, Jungkook was getting pain after saying he was feeling like he will soon if Vine won't open her eyes, and Ma, call my personal doctor. He shouted and immediately picked up Vine in his arms and walked inside the house, making every man and maids of him to get shocked, seeing their boss panic for the first time. Sir John, we removed the and stitched her wound. Hope she woke up soon, and also she need a proper rest, and these are the medicine she need to take for at least 2 to 3 weeks, he said while giving the tablet strip to Jungkook. Okay, you can leave. I will transfer your money. Thank you, Sir John, and do call me if she had any problem. Jungkook just nodded his head at the doctor. I may leave. Jungkook didn't say anything as he walked towards Wine on bed and sat next to her. Meanwhile, the doctor left the room. Jungkook softly looked at Wine's face and then softly took her small palm in his hand and cherished a chuckle while saying, I'm sorry, baby. I promise you I will not show any mercy on the person who did this to you. His eyes turned dark, imagining the things he will do to the one who Wine, but then his eyes again turned soft, saying, Wine sleeping peacefully. Sleep well, baby. He softly placed Wine's palm back on bed and then cupped her cheeks and her forehead and covered her properly with blanket and got her from bed and walked out of the room. Mark, call everyone in my office room, he ordered his secretary who was waiting for him outside his room. Yes, sir. Got any idea who it is? Mark signed, sir. It's one of our enemy. Jungkook rolled eyes. I know it's my enemy who tried to me, but instead Wine got it. I want who can't even properly. I would have taken but my girl, he said while harshly banging the table with his fist, making everyone scared. And I will show no mercy to him. Mark, find him whoever it is and bring him to my basement, and also cancel all my schedule from today till Wine gets healthy again, he said as he wanted to take care of Wine. Yes, sir. And thus Jungkook walked out of the office room. Wine slowly opened her eyes and then tried to move her hand, only for a painful groan to leave her mouth. My shoulder. She tried to hold her left shoulder with her right hand, but she felt heavy on her right hand, and she looked down at her right hand just to see Jungkook sleeping while holding her hand. Wine unknowingly started admiring Jungkook, who was looking so cute and innocent while sleeping. But then Jungkook slowly opened his eyes when he felt someone stare on him, just to see Wine admiring him and, "Baby, you up? Are you okay? Do you have any pain anywhere?" He immediately got up and worriedly asked Wine while checking her shoulder just to see if she is or not. "I'm fine, Jungkook, just my shoulder is paining," she painfully said, and, "Oh yeah, wait, I will give you medicine." Saying this, he immediately got a painkiller and filled a glass of water. Meanwhile, Wine kept admiring him doing this. "Let me help you sit straight," he said, and Wine just nodded her head, and Jungkook slowly made Wine sit straight on bed and support her back with the headboard of bed. Here, he took a glass of water and tablet and gave it to Wine, who took it and ate the tablet. "Want anything else?" he asked her, making her shake her head as no. "You should rest now." Wine again nodded her head as the tablet started showing its effect and she was feeling weak too. Jungkook slowly made Wine lay on bed and cover her properly with blanket and sleep well. Saying this, he was about to leave, but Wine stopped him by grabbing his wrist, and Jungkook looked down at Wine. "Need anything?" "What? Can you please cuddle me?" she asked, which she herself doesn't know why, because right now she just felt like she needs someone's warmth. Meanwhile, Jungkook at first was surprised to hear Wine, as he wasn't expecting that, but then he saw Wine's puppy eyes, which made his heart melt. "Okay," saying this, Jungkook laid beside Wine and got inside the blanket and slowly made Wine's head lay on his chest, and he hugged her tightly, making sure doesn't hurt her wounded side. "Sleep well," he said, and started softly cherishing Wine's back, which made Wine's body relaxed, and she closed her eyes, and soon she slept, feeling Jungkook's warmth. Meanwhile, Jungkook felt so complete having Wine in his arm. He looked down to see Wine already asleep. Wine's baby face made his heart calm, and he started admiring her face with his loving eyes. And soon his eyes closed too, as he too slept peacefully for the first time in his life. Wine opened her eyes and found herself all alone on the bed, and Jungkook. She called him but got no response. Instead, she heard, "You up, ma'am?" Wine turned her head towards the sound just to see Leah coming out from the bathroom with a bowl of hot water and a towel. Leah placed the ball and towel aside and helped Wine to sit straight, and "Sir John has ordered to clean your body, so let me clean you," she said, to which Wine just nodded her head, and Leah started cleaning Wine's body with wet towel. "Where is Jungkook?" she asked in between, as she was missing Jungkook. "Sir is in his office room with his man trying to find out who you." Wine again just nodded her head, and Leah continued talking while cleaning Wine. "You know, ma'am, sir was so worried when you got. He even the doctor to treat you well, otherwise he will." The doctor. "We all were surprised to see a whole new Mr. John, as he was panicking, and we clearly saw pain in his eyes." Wine don't know what to say, as she too got surprised on hearing Leah. "Okay, now let's change your dress." Saying this, she kept the towel aside and went to closet and come back with a pair of clothes for Wine and helped Wine wear it. Meanwhile, all the time, Wine just was lost in thinking about what just Leah said about Jungkook. "If I didn't get him within a week, I will you all." Jungkook angrily shouted at his man, who didn't got any information about his enemy, who tried to whine. "Yes, sir, we will try our best." Jungkook just signed and harshly got up from his chair and walked out of the meeting room. On the way to his room, he saw Leah, who also saw him and stood in front of him and bowed to him. "Did Wine wake up?" "Yes, sir, and I cleaned her and changed her dress to fine. Bring food for her." "Yes, sir." Jungkook walked past Leah to his room. Jungkook entered his room just to see Wine already awake. "So you up, baby?" he asked her with his soft voice, and Wine looked at him just to see him having a small smile, which indeed made him look eternal. "Yeah. How are you feeling now?" he asked Wine after sitting beside her on bed, and he softly took Wine's hand in his and cherished it, and for the first time Wine felt butterflies in his stomach from his good. Jungkook smiled. "Okay, now so let's have food and then take your medicine," he said, and at that same time his bedroom door knocked. "Come in," he said with a sudden change in his tone, and his tone changed from soft to cold, which didn't go unnoticed by Wine, and there Wine saw Leah coming in with a tray of food and Keep it and leave, he coldly said, and Wine looked at Jungkook just to see his eyes still fixed on Wine made Wine's cheek red. Okay, Sir John. He placed the foot on nightstand and bowed to Jungkook and left the room. Let's sit, he softly said, to which Wine just nodded her head, and Jungkook smiled before taking the food tray from nightstand and started feeding her with his own hands, which Wine ate without any complaint. Jungkook, good girl, he said after finishing feeding Wine and wiped Wine's lips with tissue. Now it's your medicine time, he said, and gave medicine to Wine, which again she ate without any complaint. Now take rest, he said, to which Wine pouted cutely, making Jungkook's heart melt. What happened? Why you pouting? Jungkook, I don't want to sleep. I have been on bed from yesterday and now I'm sick of this bed. Please take me to the garden, she said, hoping Jungkook will listen. But Jungkook said, no baby, you are still weak. You need to recover. But Jungkook, she went, which only got ignored by Jungkook, and she saw Jungkook walking towards the bed and lay down on bed and come, let's sleep. Saying this, he made Wine to lay down on his chest and he cuddled her, which made Wine to sleep. Seems like John got his weakness, he said while chuckling, which made Jungkook to stop him. What did you say? Alex Trim. I see John fall in love with that girl, he said, just to get a heart from Jungkook. Don't you dare take her name from your mouth. I will. You, Alex chuckled. Well, okay, you can me best because I missed the which was meant for you. But what will you do with your other enemies when they will find out that the heartless mafia king fall in love with a girl who is his weakness? They will definitely try to her. And how long will you keep protecting her before Alex can say further? Jungkook already him on his. Jungkook was drinking while recalling Alex's word, as Alex was right, because now he understands that why his heart skipped the beat when he first saw her in her house, why he got attracted to a girl for the first time in his life, why he felt so happy when he heard she is, which made him to claim her as his as soon as possible. And again, at first he thought that he was just attracted to her and will be done with her after taking her, but no, he got wrong, because he craved for more, as it was not only her who lost her, it was him too who lost his, the first girl in his life, which was stuck in his mind, which made him to get her and make her his. That's why he came up with that idea to her dad, and also not to forget how he got jealous seeing Wine with Jack when he went to pick up Wine from college, which made him lose his control, thinking that Jack will take Wine from him and thus he him on shoulder just to Jack to stay away from Wine. Now he realized it was all love for her, but then the most important thing hit his mind and heart. Remember how his heart stopped beating when he saw Wine lying in a pool of her own. He feared for the second time in his life, first being his parent in front of his eyes at the age of 15, which turned him into a heartless man just to those who his parents. No, I can't take the pain of losing the love of my life, he said to himself, as in the past he somehow overcome the pain of his parent by turning himself into a. But then he doesn't know what will he do if something happened to Wine, as Alex's word from earlier were ringing in his mind. I can't let anything happen to Wine. I need to do something to keep her protected and safe, he said, and took the glass off and gulped the drink in one go. I know what to do. Saying this, he opened the drawer of his table and took the contract paper on which he made Wine's dad sign, and he tore the paper into pieces and threw it into the dustbin. Wine was waiting for Jungkook, as it was past midnight and still Jungkook hasn't come home, which was making Wine have negative thoughts in her. Hope you are fine, Jungkook. Please come fast. Before she can complete, she heard the door opening, and there her eyes lighten up, seeing Jungkook coming inside the room, all fit and fine. So, Jungkook, she called him without wasting time. She ran to him and threw herself on him and hugged him tightly. Meanwhile, Jungkook at first got a little shock, as he was surprised his wine hugged him willingly, and that too for the first time. And he felt so complete and calm in her hug, which made him hug her back. But then he heard Wine's sobs. Baby, are you crying? He asked. Wine softly broke the hug just to see Wine crying, which made his heart ache, and he cupped her cheeks. Baby, why are you crying? Is it hurting? He asked while softly cherishing her cheeks. And Wine looked into his eyes just to see love and care for her. So without thinking twice, Wine smashed her lips on his. Jungkook's eyes wide open in surprise. It felt so good to feel her lips on his again, as this time she willingly him made his heart beat more faster, and lastly he loosed his control and her back while pulling her more into him, leaving no gap between them. Jungkook pulled back from and placed his forehead on Wine, and we should stop, baby, otherwise I will lose my control and I will you. He said against Wine's lips and closed his eyes just to control himself as he was, but he opened his eyes when he heard. Then lose your control and me, she said with her red cheeks. But babe, you are hurt, and she cutted him off by picking his lip. Wine smile. I'm fine now. You can me, Jungkook. That's it. As if Jungkook just wanted to hear that, he grabbed Wine's back of neck and smashed his lips on her, and started her, and to which Wine immediately replied back. To be continued in Instagram. Link is in description. Jungkook was already awake and admiring Wan, who was sleeping so peacefully in his embrace, but then his eyes fall on the scar on her shoulder, which made his heart ache, and he leaned towards her shoulder and her scar, making Wan to open her eyes. Good morning, Cook. Morning, baby. Had a good sleep? She snuggled more into his warm, and Jungkook hugged her tightly and her top of head. Baby, did you still have pain in your shoulder? He suddenly asked her, making Wine look up at Jungkook just to see him looking at her with concerned eyes. No, Cook, I'm already healed, she said, making Jungkook smile a little, but then. Good, come, let's take a bath. We need to go somewhere. Wine from where? You will know, babe. Come, I will help you in shower. Saying this, he got up from bed and took Wine in his arm and hurried to bathroom to shower together. Meanwhile, Wine was loving his this behavior and she was falling more in love with him. Wine frowned after seeing Jungkook stop the car in front of her house and cook here, she asked him while facing him, who was already admiring her with some emotion in his eyes, which Wine wasn't able to read. Baby, listen to me. I love you, Wine, he said, making Wine's heart skip a bit, and she felt so happy. But Jungkook's next word made her smile drop. I love you so much, baby, but we are not meant to be. Most important, you are not meant to be with a like me. You deserve a man who will protect you, and Wine cutted him off. I love you too, Jungkook, and I know you will protect me, she said while cupping Jungkook's face, but Jungkook took her both palm in his and her palm and pulled her to his and I have lots of enemies, baby, who are waiting to bring me down. And if they got to know I have a woman who is my love, they will try to you, which I can't tolerate, Wine, he said while pulling Wine's dress down her left shoulder and her scar. And then he looked up at Wine just to see her already crying, and a drop of tear left Jungkook's eyes too. You shouldn't cry for a man like me, baby. He wiped Wine's tears and peeked her forehead, and then he cupped her cheeks and placed his lips on her and her softly, which Wine immediately replied back, even though her eyes were shedding tears. So has Jungkook's eyes too. Jungkook pulled back from the and lastly peeked Wine's forehead, who was crying badly, not knowing what to say and do. You remember you asked me for your freedom, he asked, making Wine bite her lips, remembering the day she asked him to give her freedom, which he denied. But and Wine nodded her head as yes. You are free now, Wine, he said, making Wine to burst out crying, and she hugged Jungkook tightly, not wanting to leave him, and Jungkook too hugged her back and cried his heart out, knowing she will be safe without him, and for her safety he is willing to sacrifice his love, to be specific his first love, which will always cherish in his memories. Lastly, Jungkook pulled back from Wine and faced her and said in his cold, broken voice, You can leave, Wine. The end. Thanks for watching. Bye.